Alfonso of León, Lord of Molina, was an infante of León and Castile, the son of King Alfonso IX of León and his second wife Queen Berengaria of Castile. He was the brother of King Ferdinand III of Castile and León, and father of Queen Maria of Molina, wife of King Sancho IV. He became Lord of Molina and Mesa after his first marriage to Mafalda González de Lara, the heiress of those lands. Family origins. Alfonso was the son of King Alfonso IX of León and his second wife, Queen Berengaria of Castile. On his father's side he was the grandson of King Ferdinand II of León and his first wife, Heralder of Portugal. On his mother's side his grandparents were King Alfonso VIII of Castile and his wife, Eleanor of England. His siblings included King Ferdinand III of Castile and León, Berengaria, Constance, and Eleanor. Life. Alfonso was born near the city of León in 1202. As the son of Alfonso IX of León and Berengaria of Castile, he witnessed the bad relations between the two kingdoms during his childhood, after the annulment of his parents' marriage. At the Battle of Navas de Tolosa, his father and the King of Portugal were the only kings from the Iberian Peninsula who did not take part, in contrast to those of Castile, Aragon, and Navarre. In fact, Alfonso IX took advantage of the absence of his cousin Alfonso VIII to invade Castile. In 1222 Ferdinand III found himself at odds with Gonzalo Pérez de Lara, Lord of Molina, due to the latter's support of Alfonso IX, but the two kings managed to come to terms, ratifying the Treaty of Zafra in 1223. Berengaria played an active role in the negotiations. The aim of Gonzalo's martial actions, including the devastation of some villages near Medinaceli, was to foment an uprising of Castilian nobles against Ferdinand in support of his father. Ferdinand was now bitterly opposed to the autonomy enjoyed by the Gonzalo and his family, the House of Lara, one of the most powerful in the realm alongside that of Haro. He laid siege to the castle of Zafra, where Gonzalo took refuge with his retainers and family. Gonzalo ultimately surrendered and accepted the conditions imposed on him. The first of these was that the lordship of Molina would not, upon his death, pass to his son Gonzalo Pérez, the disinherited de Lara, but rather to his daughter Mafalda González de Lara, who would meanwhile marry Prince Alfonso. Thus the crown would establish control over the lordship of Molina. The marriage occurred in 1240, and on Gonzalo's death, Prince Alfonso was granted the title Lord of Molina and governed the lordship for the rest of his life, at first in collaboration with his wife, and then, after her death, alone, just as stipulated in the marriage contract. In 1240 he expanded the privileges of Molina, and in 1272, on his death, his daughter Blanca did so again. According to contemporary chroniclers, Alfonso of Molina was a man possessed of considerable virtues as well as a calm temperament. In 1230, on the death of his father Alfonso IX, he could have sought the throne of León, since Alfonso IX did not wish to bequeath it to his other son Ferdinand III, who was already King of Castile. In fact, Alfonso IX named as his heirs his two daughters, Princesses Sancha and Dulce. However, thanks to a substantial financial compensation, they renounced the throne of León in the Treaty of Benavente, ratified with Ferdinand in the presence of the many magnates and prelates of the realm. Alfonso of Molina, who had previously refused the throne, was rewarded by the king with his favor, with distinctions, and with many gifts, lands, and privileges. He accompanied his brother on most of his military campaigns and was closely identified with the cause of the Reconquista as well as whatever enterprises the king might undertake. campaign in Andalusia and a battle of Heiress. In 1231, while he visited the main cities of Leon after having taken possession of it, Ferdinand reportedly sent his son Prince Alfonso, then 9 years of age and living in Salamanca, to lay waste to the Almohad Caliphate territories around Córdoba and Seville, accompanied by Álvaro Pérez, the Castilian, de Castro and the magnate Gil Manri. Nevertheless, various historians have indicated that the Prince Alfonso to which contemporary chronicles refer was not the king's son, but rather his brother, Alfonso of Molina. But according to the version which holds that the Prince Alfonso present at the Battle of Heiress was actually King Fernando III's son, he sent Don Álvaro Castro, the Castilian, to go with him, to watch over the prince and his commander of the army, for the prince was very young and not yet so energetic, and Don Álvaro Pérez was a respected and very energetic man. From Salamanca, and passing through Toledo where they were joined by 40 knights, they made the way toward Andújar. For there, they began to devastate the countryside around Córdoba, and later the provincial town of Palma del Rio. They exterminated all the inhabitants and seized the town, then proceeded towards Seville and Jerez de la Frontera, and camped there near the Guadalete River. Emir Ibn Hud, who had gathered a large army of 7 divisions, positioned himself between the Castilians and Jerez, forcing them to give battle. During the subsequent engagement, known as the Battle of Jerez, the Castilians defeated Ibn Hud in spite of his numerical superiority. Later, King Alfonso X referred to the 1231 battle as follows: "It is fitting that you who are hearing this story know that the thing in the world that most broke the Moors, why they had to lose Andalusia and the Christians gain it from them, was this battle of Jerez. That is how the Moors were shattered. They could never again muster the daring nor the effort which they had previously against the Christians. Such was the level of the shock and fear they experienced on that occasion." After his victory in the Battle of Jerez, Álvaro Pérez de Castro the Castilian returned to Castile and handed Prince Alfonso over to his father the king, who was in Palencia. Conquests of Córdoba and Seville and actions during the reign of Alfonso X. In 1236 Alfonso of Molina distinguished himself in the conquest of Córdoba, the old capital of the Caliphate of Córdoba. 12 years later, in 1248, he took part in the siege of Seville and captured the Tororo. He also occupied a part of the Alcazar of Seville, which was known as the Walls of the Prince of Molina, in the division of the territory of Seville proclaimed on the 1st of May 1253, almost a year after the death of his brother Ferdinand III and during the reign of his nephew Alfonso X. Prince Alfonso of Molina received large grants and was one of the greatest beneficiaries of the land distribution due to his status as younger brother of Ferdinand III. The late king had asked his son Alfonso X in his will to hold him in high regard. Later life. In 1254 he entered the Order of Calatrava, obliged to wear the habit and assured that on his death his body would be buried in the order's main monastery. He attended the Valladolid Cortes of 1258, whose main purpose was to obtain money to fund Alfonso X's designs on the throne of the Holy Roman Empire. He also attended the Toledo Cortes of 1259, whose purpose was the same, and the Jerez Council of 1268. He attended the wedding of Prince Fernando de la Cerda, first-born son and heir of Alfonso X, to Blanche of France, held in Burgos on the 30th of November 1269. Death and burial. In his 1254 will, made at the time he entered the Order of Calatrava, Alfonso of Molina stipulated that he be buried in the church of the castle of Calatrava in Nueva, headquarters of the order, located in what is today Ciudad Real province. Alfonso of Molina died in Salamanca on 6 January 1272 at the age of 70. Alfonso's body was provisionally buried in the monastery of San Francisco in Salamanca, which is no longer extant. Later, his remains were transferred to Calatrava Nueva as specified in his will, and placed in a sumptuous sepulchre which lay under an arch in the main chapel of the monastery's church. This sepulchre and his remains have not survived to the present day. Marriage and children. Alfonso of Molina married, in 1240, Mafalda González de Lara, Lady of Molina, daughter of Gonzalo Pérez de Lara, 3rd Lord of Molina and Mesa, and his wife, Sancha Gómez de Trastamara. They had 2 children, Fernando Alfonso of Molina, Blanca Alfonso of Molina, married, in 1269, Alfonso Fernández de Castile, illegitimate son of Alfonso X. In 1244, widowed of his first wife, he married his second, Teresa González de Lara, daughter of Count Gonzalo Núñez de Lara, Lord of Belorado, and his wife Maria Diaz y de Haro. They had a daughter, Juana Alfonso of Molina, married Lope Diaz III de Haro, Lord of Biscay, who was killed by Sancho IV of Castile in Alfaro in 1288. She was the mother of Diego López I de Haro and Maria II Diaz de Haro, Lady of Biscay, who married Infante John of Castile, elder Tarifa. He married, in 1260, as this third wife, Mare Alfonso de Meneses, Lady of Meneses and Villanueva, widow of Gonzalo Gil of Villalobos and daughter of Alfonso Tellez de Meneses, Elmozo, 4th Lord of Meneses, San Roman and Villanueva, and his first wife Maria Yanez de Lima. They had 2 children, Alfonso Tellez of Molina, 7th Lord of Meneses and Lord of Tidra, Montealegre, Grajal, Albeda Lista, San Roman and San Felices. He was also the proprietor of half of the lordship of Albuquerque. He was commander-in-chief for Sancho IV of Castile from the 10th of December 1288 to the 25th of April 1295. He married Teresa Pérez of Asturias, daughter of Pedro Alvarez of Asturias, Lord of Norena, and his wife Sancha Rodríguez of Lara. They had at least a son, Teo Alfonso de Meneses, Lord of Meneses, who married Maria of Portugal, Lady of Meneses and Orduna. Maria of Molina, Queen Consort of Castile by her marriage to her cousin Sancho IV of Castile, son of Alfonso X and Queen Violante of Aragon. They were the parents of King Ferdinand IV of Castile. She was buried in the Abbey of Santa Maria la Real de las Huelgas in Valladolid. Alfonso of Molina also had several illegitimate children from various extramarital relationships. Juan Alfonso of Molina was declared legitimate by Pope Innocent IV in a bull published 14 October 1243. He was Dean of Burgos Cathedral, and later Bishop of Palencia from 1278 to 1293. In order to be named Bishop of Palencia he had to receive a dispensation, which was published by Pope Alexander IV on 24 January 1259. Teresa Alfonso of Molina married, according to some authors, Nuno González de Lara El Bueno, Lord of the House of Lara. Nonetheless, there is controversy among genealogists on the identity of Nuno the Good's wife, as while Luis de Salazar y Castro indicated that he married Teresa Alfonso, daughter of Pedro Alfonso of León, Grand Master of the Order of Santiago and supposed illegitimate son of King Alfonso IX of León, Count Pedro de Barcelos claims that he married Teresa Alfonso of León, illegitimate daughter of Alfonso IX of León and Aldonza Martínez de Silva. Julio González indicates that Teresa Alfonso could have been the daughter of Urraca Alfonso of León, illegitimate daughter of Alfonso IX of León, and Lope Diaz de Haro, Lord of Biscay. Her husband died in 1275 in combat against the Muslims, and both were buried in the monastery of St. Paul in Palencia. Urraca Alfonso married Garcia Gómez Carrillo, el de los Garcias, mayor of Jerez de la Frontera. Berengaria Alfonso of Molina, lady of Melgazo and Caldelas. She married, in 1251, Gonzalo Ramirez, son of Ramiro Froilas and his wife Aldonza González. They had no children, and Berengaria became the mistress of James I the Conqueror, King of Aragon. They were the parents of Pedro Fernández de Hajar, Baron of Hajar. She was buried in the monastery of St. Francis in Arbonne. Leonor Alfonso married Alfonso Garcia de Villamayor, Lord of Villamayor, Celada, and Sizaman, and son of Garcia Fernández de Villamayor and his wife Mayor Arias. Her husband was Adelantado, mayor of Andalusia and mayordomo mayor for Alfonso X. Juana Alfonso. In 1283 she received a gift from Alfonso X. Ancestry.